Hello, everybody. Welcome back. All right, so yesterday I had a wooly. Let me tell you about wooly. Wooly is something my mom used to say all the time. A wooly is like a craving. In standard Italian, it's voglia, una voglia. So in Abruzzese dialect, it kind of changes a little bit. And then I don't know if my mom was actually saying it correctly, but when I went to Italy, I talked to my cousins about it. They said it was correct. So anyway, I had a wooly for spaghetti with breadcrumbs. I had seen it different places, but I've never made it, never actually had it. I guess I was just really craving carbs. So it's basically carbs on carbs. It's not that hard to make. I looked up a couple recipes and then came up with my own spin on it. So this is my spin on spaghetti with anchovies and breadcrumbs. Let's go to the counter. I'll show you what we got. All right, very simple ingredients. So the basic ingredients in this are anchovies, garlic, and olive oil, and breadcrumbs. Don't let this container fool you. These are breadcrumbs. I had some really nice cherry tomatoes. These are so sweet and so delicious. So I threw a couple of those in. Today I'm going to add some red pepper flakes just to spice it up a little bit. And I'm using La Molisana spaghetti alla chitarra. It's square, quadrato. I'm trying to up my pasta game a little bit, going with more expensive pastas, although today I found some good pasta at Whole Foods that was on sale. But you want to pay attention to the color of the spaghetti. So this is very light color. It should not be yellow. Yellow only if it's egg pasta, but this is not egg pasta, so very light color, and you want bronze dye, which means that it has a rougher texture, and also slow dried. So what I've been reading and hearing is that slow drying the pasta helps to retain the nutrients in the wheat, makes it more digestible, it takes longer to digest, and it's not as problematic in terms of like a carb because you're not going to get those sugar spikes or whatever. I don't really understand the science of it. If anybody does, let me know. Okay, and then for the breadcrumbs, you don't want to use store-bought breadcrumbs, those fine breadcrumbs. So this was a roll that I had in the freezer. I defrosted it. I put it in the oven just to harden it up a little bit, and then pulsed it in the food processor. So you can see that these are pretty big chunks of bread. There are some finer pieces in here, but you want some pretty substantial pieces of bread. And then I toasted it in a pan in olive oil. So that's why it has this nice golden color to it. So those go on the top of the spaghetti at the end. All right, so I'm gonna prep everything, chop up my garlic, get my anchovies ready. I'm gonna start the water for the pasta because this won't take very long to come together. Okay, my water is on the stove. It's coming to a boil, it's pretty close. And I threw in about 6 anchovies, like 5 cloves of garlic. And the anchovies dissolve. If you've watched any of my other videos, puttanesca, or my kind of go-to spinach on the road or pasta on the road video, you've seen the anchovies before. All right, I'm going to throw in some red pepper flakes. I could throw them in earlier, but then they're going to kind of brown a little bit. So I just want some hotness, some heat, but I don't want them to get that crispy brown. And I forgot that I also wanted to throw in some capers. So let's throw in a couple forkfuls of capers because why not? I love capers. Capers, anchovies, garlic is a great combination. So we could stop here. But why stop here? So now I have my cherry tomatoes, which I have chopped up into a rough chop. Just a handful. This is not really a tomato sauce. It's a sauce with tomatoes. So the tomatoes are going to add to the flavor, but they're not going to overpower it. And that's it. My water is almost at a boil, so my pasta is going to take 13 minutes to cook. I'm going to cover this up. We'll throw a little pasta water in there once we get the starch coming up from the pasta, just to kind of thicken it up, loosen it up a little bit. And then we'll put it all together. All right, so everything has been cooking for about 7 minutes. We have 5 minutes left to go on the pasta. The sauce is looking great. The tomatoes have kind of melted a little bit. I'm just going to throw in a little bit of the starchy pasta water. So it's okay if this is watery. It's going to thicken up. But then also you have the breadcrumbs, which will absorb all this beautiful juice, this flavor. I'm going to let this continue to cook now uncovered until the pasta's done. All right, my pasta is done. The sauce looks amazing. It smells amazing. And I'm just going to throw the pasta in here. Looks beautiful, this pasta. I've said it before. I turn the water off about a minute before it's done. It's a lot easier to handle the pasta if you're not dealing with boiling water. So I have all that pasta water there just in case I need it. I don't think I do. Let's just give it a check. Looks like I have enough liquid here. All right, I'm going to transfer it to my bowl. Nothing fancy here. I don't make little pasta towers. Beautiful. And then the final touch are the breadcrumbs. So, put as much as you want. I don't think I want to use all of them. There we go. Voila. Spaghetti with anchovies, capers, garlic, tomatoes, and breadcrumbs. Let's go to the table. It smells wonderful. It looks amazing. The bread is giving off this nice yeasty aroma. So I'm mixing it in there. So it gets down in that sauce, starts to soak up all those delicious juices. By the way, I use a spoon when I eat spaghetti. Mm. So good. It's a little spicy today with those hot pepper flakes. So as I was saying, I use a spoon. I've seen people saying, you're doing it wrong if you're using a spoon. You know, really, get off my jock. Is it only Italians that beat each other up over the silliest things? Is it sauce? Is it gravy? Do you use a spoon? You don't use a spoon. You're not pronouncing things correctly. Like, does everybody do that, or is it just us? All right, really good. So if you have any bread left over, especially if it's a nice loaf of Italian bread, French bread, whatever, cut it up, let it dry out, throw it in the food processor. So if you want just regular breadcrumbs, it's very easy to make breadcrumbs. I could have just kept processing it until it was fine. You want to make sure the bread is really dry though. For this, don't process it too much. Just make it nice and chunky. I actually could put more breadcrumbs in here, but this is fine. So just make it nice and chunky. You just keep it in a container in your cabinet. Hang on to it, it'll last a while. Breadcrumbs that you get from the store, you know, sometimes they have preservatives in them, who knows what else. So here you're just making your own breadcrumbs, you know what's in them. For this recipe, I always have anchovies, Trader Joe's, Cento brand. I think they're $1.99 for a tin of anchovies. So I always have anchovies. I always have capers. I always have garlic, olive oil. And then tomatoes, if you have them, you don't need them. You can skip them if you don't like tomatoes. Some people are allergic. But mostly, this is a great way to use up old bread, make something that's filling, it's nutritious, it's healthy, it's cheap. This is cucina povera, right? Poor kitchen. So just making do with what you have. You don't throw anything away. And look at this deliciousness. Really good. All right, folks, that's it for now. I'm going to finish this, clean up, and then I'm going to go for a bike ride because it's a nice day. And I need to work off some of these carbs. All right, remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.